Good evening.
Hey, Tasha, how are you?
I'm doing wonderful. Thank you. How are you?
Whew, it's been a day,
Yeah.
but it's good. I'm grateful. I'm blessed. Yes, it's a good day in North Carolina. How about you up there in
Wonderful day in Maryland as well.
this
Yeah.
is what I'm talking about.
It wasn't freezing cold today.
Yeah, it was a lovely day here.
Good.
So tonight's topic, how to pick your battles and win the war.
I like winning.
I like winning too. And anytime, right, we talk about this, anytime that we have so many things that we want to do because we're so aspirational, right? We kind of get stuck because we don't know what to focus on first.
Yeah.
Right. And then that kind of leads us to not getting much done because we spread ourselves too thin and we don't know where to go. And it ends up being like defeating, right?
Yeah. I mean, it's definitely a blessing and a curse. Who doesn't want to be aspirational? Who doesn't want to say yes to everything that they feel like is going to make a difference, right? But you do have to say no to some things. And listen, the way my memory is set up, focusing on one thing at a time works very well for me.
It's well, that leads us into our very first tip, right?
Yeah.
If it's all, it will lead to nothing. You and I talk about someone who is a smoker trying to quit smoking should also not be trying to lose weight. Because in 6 months, you're going to be sitting on a couch with a cigarette, eating Bojangles chicken, talking about, this don't work. It don't work.
Right.
You have to choose your battles.
I agree. And, laser focused is always going to be better. You're going to get a sharper cut. You're going to have a faster cut with a laser than you are, a butter knife. I don't know if that's the right analogy, but the
I don't know about that.
laser part is the right part of the analogy. I definitely know that. That's what I'm trying to say. That's my point. The laser focus.
Listen, we can also compare it to when we go to a restaurant and you're serving
oh my God,
General Cho chicken and pizza, right?
Cheesecake Factory, the catalog of which is a menu. I can't. It's too much for me to choose from.
No, I can't. That's not a good, because I really love Cheesecake Factory. So,
but they serve pizza and they serve General Tso's chicken. To your point,
but they really do. Again, we're not going to talk about Cheesecake Factory.
I'm not talking about. I mean,
I know. Because I'm like, I can't, because I love it, and that's a different operation. But, however, let's be very clear. What they do extremely well is what? Cheesecake.
Hence the name, right? The Cheesecake Factory, right?
The Cheesecake Factory. They do
this on the cheesecake. If you want cheesecake, that's the place to go.
Absolutely, and you can go in there and get the cheesecake and leave everything else.
That's right.
And you might also go in there, I mean, to the point that we're making, you might go in there and say, that cheesecake is bomb, but dang, that sandwich wasn't hitting on nothing, although I haven't really had that issue. But, I mean, you could. You totally messed up my metaphor here, Tasha. But, I'm talking about the carryout, right? I'm not talking about something with 12 chefs, because the reality is they got like 12 chefs working on stuff back there, right? We're talking about we are one individual restaurant, right? With just us, ourselves, and us. We are the cook and chief bottle washer, okay? And the maitre d' and the hostess. We cannot do it all. We can only focus on one thing at a time. Successfully, big things, right? Because we're also, which is interesting because we talked about this is somewhat antithetical to how we move as well. We believe it, but there's also a different side to it, right? There are other things that you can do
simultaneously,
but don't make them big. Like, don't,
right. I think we talked about this a couple of weeks ago, right? Like, if you want to start, you have a really great example of burning calories, right? Yeah. You want to just burn 100 calories, you just connect it to something that you're already doing, right? Okay, yeah. So I watch TV before I go to bed, or you watch TV before you go to bed. You want to burn them 100 calories, just move while you're watching an episode of Martin, 100 calories gone. right?
Exactly.
Connecting it to something that you already do makes it much easier.
Right. So I don't say I want to do my business with you, but I can't do anything else. Right. But what I do say is I want to be healthy. I want to be healthier. I had a great time October, November, December. I'm, turning my life around, which means, okay, I'm going for 500 calories a day. However, I'm getting there.
Right.
And sometimes that means, as it did last night at 11 o'clock, I'm like, oh, I still want to go to bed. You and I talked. I'm like, oh, I got to go to bed. I was like, I'm at 400 calories.
That's the commitment right there, girl. Shout out to you. Congratulations, because I went to bed on them 400 calories.
I was like, I am going to put on Martin, and I dance. And I can burn 100 calories within less than 20 minutes.
Yeah.
And I got to do it. But again, so I'm not forgoing smaller goals. I'm not forgoing smaller ones. And we talk about maybe having a better balance in life. I meditate. I'm making sure I put time in my day so that I meditate.
Yeah.
So I can have a balance. And when the crazy happens, because the crazy is going to happen, I can balance. But we still have very strong goals. And you and I are going through our calendars like, oh, how are we getting this done? Because we got to get it done.
Right. We have to get it done. It's a must. I mean, one of the things I did want to point out about this is if it's all, it will lead to nothing. One of the articles that we read, the guy talked about his memory, and he was like, I just can't remember and focus on all these different things that have all these, disparate paths, right?
Yeah.
The reason that, we can have different goals because it is leading to an ultimate goal, right?
Absolutely.
And so for me, we always talk about my memory, the way my memory is set up.
Yes.
Really doesn't allow me to do all of these, sort of multitasking. I've got to stay focused on the task at hand, right? And the goals at hand.
Which is funny because you often talk about your memory, but then you will defend, no, I remember it this way. How does one do that?
It works out like that sometimes.
Works out that way.
I don't say that I don't remember things. I have a different memory recall. So that's why I say the way my memory is set up, right? Okay. I have a different memory recall. I'm serious. I use different senses.
Okay, I can't. I'm not even going to do that right now.
We're going to do a whole topic on memory recall and how people...
And just forgetting, okay? How memory recall is the 2022 way of saying
listen, if I forget it, it means it's really not that important. But
okay.
I recall things in a different manner. Please continue with the conversation. You're way off track right now.
All right. Let's get into tip 2. The cost of switching tasks.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my God. I am so aware of that now. Like when I'm really into something and I'm like, oh, I've got to especially if it's something detailed, I'm working, but I know I've got to call and work on some personal finance stuff. That's a heavy switch.
Yeah.
And that takes effort. There's a turn down, a wind down, and a turn back up. And that takes time.
It makes me think, oh my gosh, a few things are going through my mind, right? The first one that came to mind was task switching at work, right? And often my days are like this. I got meetings every hour, on the hour, sometimes on the half hour, right? Which are oftentimes about different topics, especially with the new role that I'm in, right? And so I can understand now why people want 45-minute meetings, right? And 20-minute meetings, because I need that break in between to sort of finish out this thought or prepare for the next thought, right? And so, oftentimes when you have your days backed up like that and you haven't built in white space, right, to do administrative things or to actually do work, you lose momentum, right? And the meeting that you had at 8 o'clock and you said you were going to do something, if I would have done it at 9 o'clock, it'd have been fantastic, right? But now I'm at 4 o'clock and 5 o'clock in the afternoon. There's a cost to that, right? And which is why we find people working really late at night.
And not being able to get much done because they're trying to catch up, right? Because you really have to, like, going from project to project, no matter what. And I don't care if it's personal or professional, right? Because our personal lives are still going on while we're in our professional life. It doesn't stop, right? So whether you're working and you're a mom who's got to switch to Billy's third grade teacher and find out behavior issues, like,
honey,
whew, you know what I mean?
or talk to the bus line at 11 o'clock in the morning. I mean, listen, my life.
Like,
But, one of the things that we talk about in coaching is helping one create a plan
absolutely
that breeds momentum, right? Because momentum is that snowball effect. It's what keeps you going and cuts down the cost of switching.
Absolutely. And having a plan with actionable steps,
yeah,
right, leads to continued success, continued going in the right direction, and refining your focus with each and every step, for sure. Which, interestingly, leads to our third tip. Success is built sequentially. It's one thing at a time.
Yep.
You can hit the mountaintop by going one step at a time. Don't look at the top, just look at the steps right in front of you. Just keep moving. One step at a time. And what do you say about eating an elephant? I always do this.
That was not the analogy that I was going to use tonight.
Okay.
What I was going to say is, I'm a project manager innately, right? And so I excel in that B to Y, right? So we talk about the steps, right? You can see A to Z, but how do you get to Z? You've got to get through the B to Y in order to get to Z. And so it's that, you do want to celebrate. And so for us, we have milestones, right?
Yeah.
Along that path to success, you do have some milestones and you want to identify them because you don't want to just be taking 100 steps and not be able to celebrate until you get to step 100, right? You should be able to celebrate at step 10,
you better celebrate
5, and 30, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, to talk about personally what's going on, right? So we've talked about me, and I just want to get back to being healthy, right? Because I have enjoyed myself, right? I am not getting on the scale so much as I am just looking at the changes in my body. I'm like, the scale is not going to move. Like, don't even set myself up. Actually, I did set myself up and it didn't work out right. So I said, I'm not getting back on that scale. I'm just going to look at the changes in my body. And those are the things that power me to say, okay, I'm seeing the changes. Yes, it's 11 o'clock at night. Yes, you're tired. You have on pajamas. You are actually in the bed underneath the covers, but you still got 100 more calories to burn. Oh, because I'm seeing the momentum. I'm seeing the change, and it's encouraging me to keep going because it's working. It's working.
Nice. Congratulations.
Yeah. Thank you very much. One day I'm gonna show you my little. When they come back, we're gonna come back. But I think that's also the importance of having an accountability partner.
I agree.
Yeah.
We don't let each other slide, and we can actually celebrate each other and encourage each other. Yeah.
Yeah. And pull each other back when, hey, you're going too fast past that speed. That win. Let's stop for a moment. Yeah. Hey, let's stop. Listen, you're doing it. Like, I'm impressed with you. You are getting it done. Your head is down so hard, so down, so low, so focused, which is great. But let me just pat you along the way.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's so important. So again, let's just go back over the tips really quick. If it is all, it will lead to nothing. Don't sit there. Huh?
Stay focused.
Stay focused. Don't try to take on the biggest tasks in the world, right? That's not to say that you can't accomplish multiple things. You can. But get something down really, really good first. Get a good rhythm, get a good understanding, get a good, get some wins, get some successes. I can't talk. Get it down, then move on to the next thing, right?
Yeah, I mean, so when we talk about coaching, we start with, what's one thing that you want to accomplish in the next 3 months? Just one.
Just one.
I know you got a lot of things that you want to accomplish, but we're going to focus on one, right? Yeah. Get through it.
All right. Tip number 2, the cost of switching tasks. Listen, you lose you lose when you switch from one to the other.
Yeah.
Right. You just do. And we want you to see you be successful again, like Tasha just said, what's the one thing you want to get done in the next 2 months? If there's nothing wrong with planning something to start 6 months from now after you've completed and you've achieved what you wanted to do in the first 3-4 months.
That's right.
All right.
I got those second half of the year goals, right? Because I got a lot to get through.
Man, when you graduate grad school, honey,
I get to read a regular book.
And number 3, success is built sequentially. It's one thing at a time.
Yeah.
Take one step at a time. Don't look at the mountaintop. Just look at the steps in front of you. Put your plan together. Get your accountability partner. Get your accountability coach.
Celebrate at the milestones.
Exactly. And keep going. And you will hit it. Like, there's no question about it. You will. And you will become very efficient. That's the thing this is all about, is how do you become efficient and effective? And these are the steps to do it. So if you want to follow Tasha and I, as always, you can follow us on social media. You can follow us on Facebook, on Instagram, and YouTube, The Accountability Queens, right? You can always go to our website, accountabilityqueens.com, right? And if you'd like to take our class, listen, it's called Change the Game. All you got to do is go to bit.ly/AQ class.
Spend a little time with us. We'll coach you through it at your own pace, right? Yeah.
We got something for everybody.
Nice workbook accompaniment with it. Yeah. And we're available.
We're there waiting whenever you're ready to start.
That's right.
We're ready to go. We're ready to go. All right, Tasha, that's going to do it for us tonight. Everyone, thank you for joining us. It has been a pleasure. Good night.
Battles. See you next week.
Take care.
Bye.